Hi folks! My name is Miss Lisa. We are here at the Fayette County Public Library today with fun foods. Oh, we've got a fun food for you today. We've got a twist on the normal mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese. I grew up on mac and cheese. I eat it every week. It's awesome. But this is fall and everybody's adding pumpkin to things. And so why not add pumpkin to your mac and cheese? This is an awesome fun food that I think you will enjoy. What you need is a box of pasta. I chose the regular elbow macaroni so that it looks like regular mac and cheese. You are going to need a can of pumpkin, 1 can of evaporated milk, 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, 2 tablespoons of butter, a squirt of mustard, salt and pepper to your taste, and 1 brick, which I believe is 8 ounces, of a cheddar cheese. Now make sure that you don't buy the pre-packaged shredded cheese because this melts a lot better. So what we're going to do today is make a homemade cheese sauce, add the pumpkin, and put in the noodles, and it's all done in the skillet and it's ready to eat. So let's get our skillet turned on to 150 degrees. Nope, let's say 350. Let's go with 350. Okay, we're going to go to 350 degrees here in our skillet. You can use just a frying pan on the stove. That works as well, as long as you have a big enough one to hold a whole bowl of pasta. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get 2 tablespoons of butter and get that melting in here. So there's 1 and 2. So that needs to melt. Now, while we're waiting on that to melt, I'm going to go ahead and take my pasta off the stove, which has cooked for between 7 and 8 minutes. Remember, you want your pasta to be soft, but not super soft, especially since you're going to be cooking it a little bit again in the skillet. So I'm just going to move that over here and drain it. Look at all that yummy pasta. Get that all out of there. Every last noodle counts. Okay, our butter is starting to melt, so all we need to do here is melt our butter. And once that's melted, we're going to be adding that evaporated milk. All right, so that's good enough. We're going to add our milk in. We want those 2 things to blend well together. Okay. And remember, we don't want it to burn, so if you would happen to see it start to boil or bubble, then turn your heat down. Okay. Got our butter in there. Next, we need to add our pumpkin. Okay, so we're going to add our pumpkin. All right, and you're going to want all of it. So we're going to scoop that pumpkin out and mix it well with the milk and the butter. I can smell it. Now, this recipe does not call for any pumpkin pie spice. But if you want it to taste a little bit more pumpkin-y, you might want to experiment and add that in. Okay, so I'm going to spread that pumpkin around and mix that in with the milk. We don't want to rush this, but we do want it to be all mixed well together. This is a very simple little recipe, folks. Once you've made the cheese sauce and you add your noodles, you are good to go. Now, I know some people like baked pasta, baked macaroni and cheese. And so once you've made this, if you want to stick it in the oven, put it in a 9x13 pan, maybe add some Ritz crackers crumbles on the top, and bake it for a few more minutes, that would be okay too. But you can eat it straight out of the skillet when it's done. Okay, so you smell all that pumpkin-y aroma. Okay, that sauce is looking pretty good. We need to add our cheese, so we're going to add our Parmesan cheese in here. Go ahead and stir that Parmesan cheese up and let it start to melt. Remember, we're at 350 degrees. We just want to keep stirring it so nothing gets burned or sticking. All right, that's well done. Now for the yummy cheese. We're going to add, I shredded this earlier. Okay, so I took a whole brick, 8 ounces of that mild cheddar. We're going to melt it in here with that pumpkin and the milk and the butter. Okay. Get all that cheese in there. Once that cheese starts to melt, you might want to go ahead and sprinkle a little of your salt and your pepper to however you like it. You could also add a little nutmeg. Pumpkin and nutmeg go well together. I don't have any of that today, but it was suggested in the recipe. You can do that if you want to add a little of that. So while that cheese is continuing to melt, I'm just going to sprinkle a little salt, sprinkle a little pepper. You know, as we dish this up, the people eating it can always add a little bit more salt and pepper if they would like. All right, you can see how it's all melted and well combined. The last little secret ingredient is just a little bit of mustard. So we're going to squeeze out a little bit here. Just about a teaspoon of mustard. Gives it a little bit of tang in there. And stir that around really well. Oh, that just adds an extra little spiciness. Okay, so once all that is done, the last thing is to add your noodles, and you're ready to eat it. Okay, so let me grab my noodles. They are well drained over here. I'm going to pour them in and stir it up. You want to make sure all your noodles are covered really well in this cheese sauce, especially homemade pumpkin cheese sauce. Okay. I can start to see that it's starting to stick just a little bit as we're getting that extra ingredient in there, and I don't want it to stick to the bottom. So I turned it down just a little bit. Everything is hot and ready to eat. Look at that deliciousness. Very simple recipe, folks. It makes a wonderful mac and cheese. The added pumpkin just makes it extra thick and gives you that little bit of a pumpkin-y tang. Okay, guys, this is really all there is to it, unless you want to turn it into a baked mac and cheese. So the next step would be is to call your family over and say supper served. So we can dish up the mac and cheese. You might want to serve it with, roast beef or some ham or turkey. Get some bread, some green beans, and have yourself a meal. What do you think, folks? Isn't that awesome? This is a pumpkin mac and cheese. I'm Miss Lisa. We've been here at the Fayette County Public Library today, and this has been Fun Foods. See me again next Tuesday for another awesome recipe.